All right. Hello, you guys. I know you haven't seen me in so long, at least not with this sign behind me, but your girl is back. It's your girl, Cece, the hostess with the Moses for The Bottom Line Is. And we have some catching up to do. Okay. So many of you may know that last year I was crowned the 2025 Miss Maryland Corporate America. And, I paused the season because I had a lot going on. I had a lot of big shoes to fill. I had to, pave the way for some of these ladies that you see here today that I'm so excited to have on my season 3 premiere. And so for my viewers out there, I just want you all to know that, I'm always going to take it up a notch. That's just me. That's just what I do. That's how I am. And so this season, what we're going to do is change the platform where we basically have a topic for the month. And then we'll still have our weekly episodes every Friday at 7 p.m. This week is an exception because these lovely ladies are going to be competing for this crown on this Saturday, March 14th at 7 p.m. at the Bowie Performing Arts Center. And if you haven't gotten your tickets already, make sure that you visit the link in my bio or visit www.md.misscorporateamerica.com. But yes, this is season 3 premiere, and the March topic is who are you when no one is looking? Okay. Now, I know you all are like, ooh, that sounds deep. Yes, it is deep. And that's why we're going to talk about it. Okay. So, this week's episode is called Pageantry. Is it performance or strategy? So, before we really dig into it, I'm going to allow these lovely ladies to introduce themselves, tell you who they are, make sure that I'll let them share their handles at the end. But make sure that when they do so, that you like, comment, and subscribe. Feel free to chat while we are talking today. We would love to get your feedback. And even if it's not today and you're watching this on replay, feel free to comment and we will all be sure to respond. So, India, would you like to go first?
Absolutely. Sierra, first, I want to say thank you so much for this privilege and this opportunity to be on your season premiere. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And by way of introduction, greetings. My name is India Clark, and I have the pleasure of representing Miss Upper Marlboro.
All right. And what is your platform?
Yes, my platform is centered on power, purpose, and legacy. Power really being around strategic self-care, looking at self-care as a strategic leadership practice. Purpose is really around leadership and professional development. So as a CPA and project management professional, I lead an accounting firm. I'm very passionate about exposing young girls to career and leadership pathways in accounting and artificial intelligence. And legacy is really all around creating generational wealth and being really intentional about your legacy.
Okay, that's what I love to hear. I remember doing an interview as Miss Maryland, and someone asked me, "Well, what legacy do I want to, leave behind?" And I think the legacy for me is just basically like creating the pathway, setting the foundation, starting the work and knowing that I'm going to continue the work as well, and just continue as we continue to do more Maryland pageants and just encourage and mentor those that are coming after us, and mentoring the young ladies that we have that look up to us, as well as just other women in business, because again, that's what it's all about. So let me not go on that tangent, but I'm going to go ahead and move to Jennifer.
We got two.
I
I was
That's
gonna
know.
me.
say which
I
one.
realized that, but I'm gonna say Miss Salisbury. I was like, I didn't want to say the state, the county yet, but Miss Salisbury.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Again, Sierra, thank you for having us. My name is Jennifer Dickerson. I again representing Miss Salisbury, Maryland. My platform basically is being able to have a youth development organization that allows young people the freedoms to express themselves when words can't be articulated through dance and movement, but also providing the gaps between parents and their children, learning how to effectively communicate with each other, being a liaison between parents and the students with the school system, and then being able to teach our young people how to give back to underprivileged youth. So that's basically my platform.
No, I love that, and I love that you're creating that communication, because as generations continue, I think I hear a lot of people saying, like, whether it's parents or students, it's very hard for them to communicate with each other as opposed to maybe how it was, let's say, in the 90s or, the early 2000s. So many things are changing. There's so many trends out there. Sometimes we do need a little help to get our point across, not just, parent to child, but in the workplace too. So those are good
Yes,
skills to,
yes, 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 yes.
to build. And Salisbury is near and dear to my heart because that is my alma mater, Salisbury University. Shout out, woo woo, the Seagulls. So
Yes,
I love it. I love going back. I love my friends that are down there. So I'm excited to that you're representing the Eastern Shore. All
yes,
right, our other Jennifer.
Hello, everyone. I am Jennifer Lovick Marshall, and I am Miss Suitland, Maryland, from Prince George's County, Maryland. And my platform is basically coaching women to exit toxic relationships. And
Mm,
that's really very hard for a lot of women. So I am a health and life coach. And what I'm doing now is in the process of expanding that coaching practice to include not just our physical health, our mental health, but also our financial health, because I believe that we have three legs that we need to have to stand on, not just two, so that when we find ourselves in unhealthy relationships, we can exit and we can stay out of them. We don't have to re enter them or re enter similar situations because we either don't have that financial piece together, our mental health together, or our physical health together. So that's my platform.
Okay, no, that's powerful. I did I think it was my first season if I'm remembering correctly. So it's been a lot of episodes, which I'm blessed for. But yeah, I talked to someone that was recently divorced and talking about like how to get out of that situation, how to prepare financially, for the situation. So, what we call putting your ducks in a row, so to speak. And,
Yeah,
just even getting the courage to even take that first step of saying, and acknowledging to yourself, like, I do need to separate myself from this situation. So I thank you for being that voice of encouragement and letting people see, like, oh wow, if she can do it, then I can do it too, because it is
absolutely.
hard as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. All right, and then last but not least, Jackie.
Hi, guys. Hi, Cece. Thank you for having us on your show. Welcome back to your podcast. And I look forward to catching more episodes. So, my name is Jacqueline Millender. I'm representing Southern Maryland, and I run a digital marketing platform called Where to Buy Black. It's WEAR, To Buy Black. It focuses on promoting Black owned fashion and beauty brands. And my platform is exposing Black owned businesses in the state of Maryland. And I set a goal at the beginning of the competition to promote over 100 Black owned businesses. And that's what I've done. And it's been an amazing
Wow.
experience.
No, that's awesome. And I'm all about that. And just basically collaborating. That's like what we're doing now, collaboration of the minds. And so I'm sure those businesses appreciate you giving them that voice and that platform of to stand on as well. So because a lot of people, small businesses, they don't know what's out there unless, sometimes it's word of mouth for them. And that's their best marketing tool. So I appreciate you for sharing that. Well, now you have met these wonderful ladies. And so let's really get into it. So, for the people who have never competed before in a pageant, because is this the second pageant for anybody? Is this everybody's first pageant? Okay. So,
this is
Jackie,
my
you've
very
competed.
first one.
Okay. All right.
Yes, I did Miss Veteran America in 2019.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know you was a vet. You go ahead, girl. Thank you for your service. All right now. Okay. Well, for those, and you probably can have some light to share on this, but what do you all think is the biggest misconception as it relates to pageantry? Okay, Jennifer.
The biggest misconception is that it's all about physical beauty,
Mm-hmm.
that you're going to, parade around half naked, showing off, the swimsuit and and your talent is really going to also kind of accentuate, your beauty as well, whether it's your voice or how you're moving about in dance or something like that. and to be able to tell people that no, this competition is bigger than that. It's about the beauty within, it's about the power of the woman within. So,
Yeah,
some
no, I
people have been taken back by that.
yeah, no, because it's not a lot of like platforms out there like Miss Corporate America, and it
Right.
truly is. To me, Miss Corporate America is really focusing on a person that is putting the action to what they believe in and what they talk about. We're not just saying it, we're not just putting it on for one day, but we're actually living and breathing this. But does anybody else have anything to share? I think India, you wanted to share
Yeah.
something.
No, I mean, I totally agree with Jennifer. Well, what I would add to that is what really attracted me to the Miss Corporate America competition was that it was exactly that, all of us truly are living the words that we're saying. And Cece, I'm not sure if you recognize this, but I watch you win your crown. Right. I witnessed the show. And it was that moment for me where I'm like, Miss Corporate America, that's me all day long. I've had the privilege of being in corporate America since I was 14. I had my
Wow.
very first job at a law firm, and I've literally only worked in corporate America my entire life. And so, but then I thought further, it's not just about your title, but it's also about your community impact. How are we lifting as we climb? So, coming from the accounting profession, there's an organization called the National Association of Black Accountants,
Yes.
and that's the motto of the organization, lifting as we climb. And that's something that's very important to me. And when I think about where this organization has come from just in the matter of 1 year, double the amount of contestants, right? A
Absolutely.
larger
Yes.
stage, more media presence. We're literally just only going up. But to go back to your question, I think that definitely that, beauty is a part of your score. And a lot of times when I'm telling people, hey, I'll be competing, I actually have this really funny story. Really recently, I was at a networking event and someone was asking me, what's your talent? And I said, actually, we will all have a personal pitch. And so she's like, well, what's your personal pitch? And so I said, you want to hear my personal pitch? She said, yes. So in the middle of this big networking event, I give it to her. And she was just blown away, just in the sense of like, this is substance. Like, this is powerful. This resonated with me. And just giving me a lot of shine. So that's what really attracted me to this particular pageant, was because it wasn't about beauty. It was about substance.
No, I love that. And that was great practice. You know,
It was.
if
It
any of you
was.
were look, if any of you were on the interest meetings that I was on, I talked about having that support system. I think I wore my family out in the last 2 weeks prior to the pageant. They watched me do my walk up to do my speech and say it. And if I messed up, I started all the way back from the beginning. Like
Yep.
I'm like, I need to have several before I go to bed, several great runs
Yes.
of this so I can be satisfied. I'm a
Yes.
perfectionist. I know.
Yeah.
And it
But
was worth it, right?
does anybody else have any thoughts on that question before we move on? Oh,
Well,
all right, Jen. Oh,
I was gonna say, let's talk about my misconceptions because I'm sure it's everybody else's. Because I'm pageantry was not for me. I said on every interview that I've done is like I never really wanted it because my misconception was um, that competitions are rigged. I always
Mm,
believed that competitions they already had in mind who they wanted to win or whatever. Like, oh, that because watching that because I always felt like it was centered around opinions and things like that is why I wouldn't even put myself in a position to do a competition because it's what will resonate with you. And then the other misconception I had was that people in pageantry were models, like they were all
yeah.
models. So those were my misconceptions. But being a part of this, I literally only came in here because they said that this particular pageant was about women, uplifting women, and celebrating the accomplishments of women that have already been in business, that have started business and entrepreneurship, and being an entrepreneur, being with women that kind of understand the burden of entrepreneurship, or the burden of being a mother, or just being a woman trying to fight through a male dominant industry.
Yeah.
So coming into that, and like I said, even on the interview panel that time, is that I was just looking for some sisterhood too. I really came in here for the bond, and it gave me more. When I say way more than I bargained for, I mean the bond that the ladies and I share is like, I mean, only we understand how the depth of it, because it's been phenomenal. The support, some of the support that I don't necessarily get in my city, right off the bat, but just being able to have an encouragement, even if you can't show up, hey, I'm pushing you, I believe in you, and being able to support. So those were my misconceptions. So I'm just grateful to even be a part.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, and I'm glad you highlighted sisterhood, and that is very important. I think of it like a sorority, but without like the hazing and all the good parts of the sorority, because the relationships that you ladies built just as you're going through this process are going to get even stronger after the pageant, because as you all move to different business endeavors and just other connections, that you all stay close. I mean, I think a lot of the queens that competed last year, they've gone on to um, build bigger businesses, open up new businesses, get new jobs, make more connections. I mean, they've done, including myself, but I'm just,
Yeah.
talking about them right now. But so they've done so much, and it's just so good. We still have our group text message just to celebrate all of the wins that we've had since March of last year. It's just phenomenal, in all shapes and forms. And then Jackie, I'm sorry I cut you off earlier.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's okay. I was going to say one of the biggest things that I actually learned the first pageant I did was that the only way to be successful is by winning the entire thing. And I think that going into this pageant, I actually defined what success was up front for myself, what it would mean for me to really win. And that's when I set goals and, work to achieve those goals. And I think that there are so many ways to win in pageantry. Like Jennifer said, the sisterhood, but also the personal and the professional development. And just being able to elevate yourself as a person,
Yeah.
and elevate your platform. Those are all wins.
Yes.
No, I totally agree. I think it's very important to be relatable, as you're going through, because even when you're crowned, people want a queen that they can relate to, that they can be able to learn, something from, that is a trailblazer, and all these, great things, not just for show, but, again, you're practicing what you preach,
Yeah.
right? So,
Right.
okay. No, that's awesome. And yeah, I had somebody actually, going back to Jennifer's point, say to me today when they didn't know I was Miss Maryland, I was having lunch somewhere, and they were like, "Oh my God, did you have to wear a bathing suit?" And I was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
So yes, I love that we didn't have to do that.
Yeah. Well, wait
Me
till you
too.
see our. You said that we're not being hazed, but wait till you see our welcoming act. We have about
Oh,
15 8 count. It's a little bit
now
more
I'm
intense
not
than
gonna
what you
lie,
guys
that
did, CC.
Listen, honey,
that was hard.
listen. Woo, y'all's was hard.
Yeah,
No.
Oh
well,
Lord.
I think it was hard for us. I mean, we got the materials a little bit later. I'm trying to think, maybe the last week to 2 weeks we got a video, and we all like just practice individually, and we didn't get on the stage and practice together in any type of format until the day of.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah, we're
day
changing
of, we
that.
were trying to like figure it all out. I think you all have had like some practices or something like that. So yeah, we had to figure it out that day, like positioning and everything. And then, some of the ladies, they all got together in the huddle and was doing it. I said, I can't do no more. I said, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't think and move. I said, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I said,
Right.
now, I it is. So don't stress too much over
Right.
the welcoming, part of the dance. I mean, yes, it is a Miss Corporate America tradition to have some type of opening like that. But focus on the main parts, your interview, your pitch, your formal wear walk. Those are the key things that you need to focus on. Now, there might be criticism coming towards me from Miss Corporate America, but that to me, that is the best advice that the queen can give you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So focus
Thank
on
you.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so, and speaking of that, so many people only see the evening gowns, right? So we talked about like not wearing the swimsuits and all these things and the talents and stuff, but we do have a formal wear portion, and there are some, rules in regards to that. And so when people see the evening gown, the walk, and the stage presence, what strategic preparation actually happens behind the scenes? So, like, how are you all preparing for that?
I can start because I literally just had a session with my pageant coach.
Okay.
And my daughters don't know this, but or at least my youngest daughter doesn't know. So she's actually starting her modeling, her professional modeling journey this year. And so I've been watching her team for months now, right? And now that type of walking and how we walk is a little different, but there are some, knowledge that can be transferred. So just before this interview, actually, I was practicing with my pageant coach, and then my daughter's modeling coach was there. So I kind of got two for one. But
Okay.
to your point, you can't just show up the day of, right? You,
Right.
especially if it's your first time, because and I'm a very confident person, but to be in a formal gown in front of hundreds of people and being in front of the judges to really demonstrate that grace and that confidence, it does require a level of preparation. And so I've put a significant amount of investment into this entire process. And anything that I start, I finish, and I want to give it my all. And I love Jackie's comments because the way I see it, we are already winners. I
Right.
truly do believe that. And I feel like all of us operate with that level of excellence and confidence. But to answer your question, I have hired a pageant coach.
Hmm.
And I really do appreciate the training that the Miss Corporate America organization also offered. So at Media Day, we had about an hour with Crown Bound, who has been very successful in training pageant queens. And so that was really fun. It was a good start. And she gave us feedback on our walk. And so you got to put the work in for sure.
I agree. It's all about practicing. If you need to hire somebody to, kind of step in and help you out, I've had people to help me from time to time. And I have someone that I'm working with just to help me to get my mind right in preparation for the competition, because a lot of it is mental. And but practice makes perfect. That's cliche, but it is what it is.
Yep,
Absolutely.
I piggyback on that too, because it's funny that that would come up because I work with youth and we do performing arts. So again, I tell them all the time, you how you practice is how you show up. So a
Hmm.
lot of times whenever they're doing routines and things like that, we give new material. I can always tell who has practiced or who put the time in because it shows up when the time comes. So the same thing is applicable with pageantry. I too had worked with a couple of people. And then my niece is actually a pageant winner. She's still very young, but just looking at her and looking to her, and she's just giving me little advice about little things that you can do, but when
Yeah.
you got to call in the big wigs, you got to call them in. You have to put in the work, and above all, put in the investment. You
Yeah,
put in what you want to get out of it. So again,
absolutely.
whatever that win looks like, I just want to be successful. And I win or lose at any given rate, I've already won. I have already won. I've already exceeded everything that I wanted to do for this whole pageant already. So it's like that's a win in itself.
Yep.
Yeah. I found myself just saying this is new and being open to the fact that I didn't know everything. And I started, actually went back to the person who introduced me to Miss Corporate America. She was a former contestant last year. She didn't win, but she went on to do the Miss Unity World pageant. And I kept calling her and I was like, okay, so tell me about this and tell me about that. And look at this and look at that. What you think? Because I didn't have anybody else that had the actual experience, and of course, it was wonderful going to the monthly meetings and all of that good stuff. But let me tell you, honey, I was a YouTube playing queen. I will go back and there all the pages I could look at, all the participants who journaled their journey, and just kind of just taking whatever nuggets I could. Sometimes it was repeats of things. Sometimes it was, a win because it was like, oh, no one said that before. Let me think about this. Let me see how I can apply this. So that was really great for me too. But any way that you could prepare so that you could be yourself and be confident and comfortable once you hit the stage is what you want to go for.
Let me just pause. Sorry about that. Apparently, there is a storm going on,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
Oh
I
wow.
I was not aware because I was like, "What is going on?" The power just like went out here. So I apologize, and I thank you all for continuing.
Yeah.
That's never happened.
Real queens, honey. Real queens.
Yes, look, what we always say is queens have to pivot. So
That's it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all helping me in that pivot, in that pivotal moment.
Yes.
Yeah, so and I'm sorry I missed the responses, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you all, gave some amazing responses, and I'll keep monitoring the chat as well. So, uh, okay, all right. So the next question I have for you all: how much of pageantry is about storytelling and branding yourself?
I think it's all about branding yourself through your personal stories, because if the audience can't relate to you and they're not really feeling your sincerity, then it's hard for them to say, oh, I'd like to see her, wear the crown and represent. So your story has to mean a lot to you, and then you have to deliver it in such a way that other people can see that being their story too.
I
Yeah.
like that. That goes back to what I said earlier about being relatable.
Hmm.
People have to envision you like as queen, like you know how can you be branded, how can they market you, like what are you going to bring to the table, how are we really going to maximize the efforts of Miss Corporate America with you as queen? So
Yes, and so as you do your community service, whatever that is, those same people have got to see that, you really care in order for them to open up and allow you to help them. And I think about what I'm trying to do. I'm letting people know, okay, yes, I want to help people exit toxic relationships, but not on a whim. I
mhm.
lived it as a child and then I lived it as an adult, and time out for people having to go through this. Let's start being open. Let's stop being silent, and let's help one another.
No, that's awesome.
I
Mhm.
think 100% of it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I was gonna
no,
say I think
huh?
100% of pageantry is about storytelling and branding yourself. One of the things that I have learned through this process is about visibility. Because I work with so many vulnerable children. I never really wanted to expose that, but I think when people know your story, it keeps you authentic for one, because I don't have to find a story. I don't have to make up a story because it'll flow directly from the heart. So when you can dig down into your heart and be able to pull up your experience or what you're trying to prevent the next person or the next generation from, then that part will resonate with everybody else, because there'll be a level of vulnerability and transparency that can be relatable. So I say 100% of it.
Yeah, no, I love the word authenticity. I was going to get into that later, but that is a powerful word as it relates to this competition as well. So I think somebody else had a comment. No.
I was
Oh.
gonna say, branding 100% and telling your story, or saying your pitch over and over, making sure that people know what it is that the platform is that you stand on, because it's a lot of us, and there people are hearing and seeing so many different stories, and when you're constantly repeating what it is that you're standing on, and what your story is, and then people can remember, oh, I remember her, she does this, she's passionate
Hmm.
about this. And that takes branding, and that takes constantly putting yourself out there, putting your story out there. And I think that's how you can be successful at doing pageants, is by standing on one thing, sticking to that one thing, and branding that one thing to your story, and making it communicative, that people can digest it and they can remember it, and then they can relate to it.
Yeah, and so, when you mentioned that, I was thinking about two things. One being, you know, when Alethea had that conversation with you all when you first started and were interested, and you joined, you got your crown and your sash. It was at that moment that it was time for you to tell your story. That's really where it all began. You know, holistically. And, with that, once you had that, Now it's like, well, what are you going to be recognized for? And for me, I think about marketing and branding all the time. And like, yes, I have a whole story, but for me, I find it shorter to just say caregiver advocacy, because then
Mhm.
people already know what I'm talking about in that short word, as opposed to like giving the whole story. Imagine trying to repeat that like 100 times. That's a lot, to
Yeah,
say. And it's just, so even when I'm doing media things, it's just quick and easy for people to say caregiver advocate. Oh, she's been a caregiver. She's this, she's that. Like, so, just think about that too. As a way to like your own, yes, personal pitch. Yes, you're doing your professional pitch, but your own personal pitch, because that's what's going to, want people, to reel people in, so they can want to know more about your story. So, figuring out how to have that motto is not the word, but like that tagline that
mhm,
represents you and what you're standing for. So
Right. Because a
dropping
lot of us
gems.
do a lot of things.
Right. So
Yes.
it's just like, what is that one thing that you want the pageant to help you amplify,
right.
as a result, or that you want people to know that maybe they can't find when they Google your name. Right. So, think about those different things too, because that is what's going to help you stand out too. Not just for the competition, but just as long as you're wearing those sashes, Miss Upper Marlboro, Miss Salisbury, all of that, that is your brand.
Yeah,
Right? So, and that's something that no one can ever take away from you. You are the 2026 queens.
yeah.
So, so my next question, we kind of touched on it, but feel free to add in anything else. But what has pageantry forced you to learn about yourself that you did not know before competing?
Mm,
Well, for me, I mentioned before that I was not the girly girl because I was raised with all boy cousins. It was my grandmother has 10 grandkids and me and my sister are the only girls. So, back in that day, boys didn't do girl things. So I was very much a tomboy. So actually being able to come into the softer side of me, and I'm getting ready to get all emotional because my mom didn't get to see this. Um,
mm,
Oh,
but embracing this, like at first it was a bit of a struggle learning how to maintain my hair, learning how to, well, in this
yeah.
era, but learning how to maintain my hair, learning how to do little makeup kits. I do have good skin, but just little things to accent a little bit coming into, and then learning how to present myself a little softer has opened a door for me that now I've learned to kind of like it. Now I can't even go out the house like, hold on, wait a minute, I gotta get this together. No, so I discovered that coming into my softer era is a bit becoming and something that I'm able to fall in love with and enjoying um not what's the word I'm looking for, enjoy along with this pageantry process, because it was because of this process that I was able to step into it a little more.
yeah,
Well, I am glad you're loving the softer side.
yeah,
We love the softer side for you.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
For me, sorry, I was just gonna say for me, as I'm thinking through that question, it's a couple things. I think, um, I would say, it was a level of humility that I was actually seeking, right? Because God really placed a great deal of confidence in me. And as I interact with youth, I realize that confidence is actually not a natural thing. You actually have to sometimes teach people how to be confident. And no one has ever had to teach me how to be confident. I've just been a naturally confident person. And so when you come into a competition like this and you are around other high achieving, equally as confident women, that naturally gives you a level of humility that's necessary. But what I will say is, in addition to humility, it's been such a great reminder that God gave us two ears and one mouth for a reason. And so I've learned how to be a more effective listener. And let me give you an example. Speaking through Thinking through the preparation, that's our theme, right? And
Right.
performance or strategy, my pageant coach, we were practicing, and she said, "Bring your dress, bring your formal dress that you're gonna practice in." And I was like, "Why do I need to do that? Like that's so over the top, you know?" I really didn't want to do it, but I hired her for a reason, and thank God I listened to her because from that experience, it was a couple things that we discovered about my dress that actually needed some additional attention. And if I hadn't um, been humble enough to listen to her advice, I could have missed an opportunity, right? And so being humble enough to recognize that, India, you don't know everything, right? Being humble enough to know that honestly, anyone can win this competition. And
Right.
that's what I love so much about this process. Maryland is going to be in great hands no matter who is crowned on Saturday,
I have no
Absolutely.
worries.
right? And another thing that I love about the competition is so much diversity in
Yes.
Oh
terms
yeah.
of the industries that we're representing, our backgrounds, our stories, really what we're all passionate about. And so I'm learning from the ladies, it's a level of seriousness that I do appreciate everyone taking this process very seriously and just really putting our best foot forward.
No, I love that. I love that. So, yeah, and I'm glad you got the full practice. That's what I said. Put yourself, just like when people are doing plays, actors, they do costume rehearsal. Same
Right.
thing. It's the same concept because you need to know how you're going to feel and how you're going to move. That body language is very important as you do go throughout the competition too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, I learned how to center myself. I realized that as I am now in my 30th year of teaching, I
Wow.
am looking at what's next for me. And as a natural storyteller and a natural teacher, I want to continue doing that. And I've always had a passion for children and for the disenfranchised. So I was able to really do some soul searching. And I realized that, at this point, it's now time. I've done enough to tell my story and to help not only other women who were in my shoes, but maybe even to prevent young women from even being in those situations from the beginning. So I've kind of been able to take all the things that's been on my mind and been on my heart and put it together and say, yes, this is what we're going to do. And before the pageant, I just had a whole lot of ideas. I wasn't, I had several side hustles, and I was thinking about, bringing those to fruition. But then I said, well, how are they going to serve other people? They may serve me because I might make some
Mhm.
money, but how are they going to serve other people? And I realized that the richest people are the people who give, not the people who receive, and that God will give you the resources that you need to keep giving as long as you're doing His work. And I said, yeah, this is
I
the
love
way we're gonna go. Because that's when I felt at ease when I thought about it that way.
Yeah.
I love that. Jackie, I'm not sure if you had anything to add to that question as well. I'm not sure if we lost you again. So I apologize to my viewers out there for the storm. That's why we also lost Summer, who was also supposed to be a part of this great conversation. So yeah, did not plan for the storm. Okay. So uh, in a world where women are often judged quickly, how do you balance authenticity with presenting your best image on the stage?
I think naturally, whether I'm nervous or not, just having the practice of being a teacher, my nerves go by, that period of time leaves me quickly. And then I'm just me. I have something to say, and all of my personality, all of my heart. I've always had problems not wearing my true feelings and emotions on my face or in my body language. I've been working on it, but it's just naturally who I am. So I think I always come across as myself to people. Um, and so for me, it's just making sure that, I choose the right words to send the right message and not think through it on my feet, as you would say, rehearsing it. But I think naturally I'm able to say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. And, thank you for allowing me to share.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, if anytime I feel like a person is trying to be someone that they're not, it's
Hmm.
no, it's not going to come through authentic, but it's not going to come off well as well, because
Yeah.
you're speaking about something that you have not lived, you have not went through.
Mhm.
It's just not the same, and then people won't be able to relate, or people won't be able to really understand what your purpose or what your message is trying to say if you're not being your true self. Like, don't be what you want people to just see on the outside. Like,
Mhm.
actually really bring that from within, and that's again what's going to help people stand out, as well. So, any other, Jackie, did you have anything you wanted to add in regards to that?
Sorry, I was losing service. I had to switch over to my phone. Um, Something that I've learned about myself through this competition, I think is I'm, I would say I learned how to allow myself to receive.
Hmm.
um and I knew that, I'm so used to, I'm a natural giver. It's sometimes it's hard for me to receive, and I knew that about myself. But it really became apparent in the competition, especially when I started to really, get into fundraising, and people wanted to help me, wanted to donate towards my campaign. And sometimes I was almost in my own way, just not asking, or not, going the extra step to say, well, here's how you can do this, or, here's how you can help me in this way. And so I really, learned how resistant I can be when it comes to receiving. And, that's an amazing thing, because I think awareness is something that really transforms us to the next level. Once we become aware of something, then we can, we can work on it. We can move forward, move towards, correcting the issue, whatever it is. So
Hmm.
definitely.
Oh, I love
I think
that.
that was a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I too struggle with receiving, and as I went through my journey, and sometimes I still, I'm like, yeah, people are like, oh, we have Miss Merlin in the house, and I was like, oh, hey, but at the same time, I don't want to come off. It's that borderline, like I don't want to come off cocky or anything like that. I still am a very humble person. I'm a very modest person, but at the same time, I know, in the right room, when to put that
Yeah.
on, if you will,
Absolutely.
right? So, but no, I totally resonate with that.
I think it's
Anybody?
also
Oh,
no, I was just gonna say, like, what I've been thinking about is, like, not taking yourself too seriously. Like, it's a
yeah.
level of fun, like, in a way, like, this is a little bit of a performance, right? And so it's a level of fun and, not taking yourself too seriously, realizing that everyone in the room, we're all human beings, and, I just really appreciate all the support that I've received from the public, from strangers, to all of my sponsors. Like you say, I know my family is ready for Saturday to come, and it's so funny, Cece, because I actually met your sister. We were both in the VIP section, and she was just so supportive, and she was confident too. She was confident about her sister, which I loved. But yeah, this has been a process, and like I said, like we all have said, I feel like we've all are getting exactly what we needed from this experience.
Right.
And so whether it's the negotiations like with sponsors, or because in a way, we have to constantly sell ourselves, right? Like I just got a new sponsor yesterday at the beauty supply store. Like, I got a free bundle.
I
He's
needed
like,
some
hey,
sponsors. Y'all should hook me up with some
yeah.
sponsors. I needed some.
Yeah,
Yeah,
honey.
hey, you hook me up. Give me
Oh,
this bundle for free. I
I know
put you on
that's
my
right.
website.
Yeah.
Because that's what Miss Corporate America is. She's a
Right.
negotiator.
Absolutely.
She's a deal
Exactly.
maker. She's thinking about the community. Like it doesn't just show up on Saturday. This is a way of living for us.
Yeah, like that hustler mentality in a sense, but
Right.
corporate style.
Exactly. Corporate
So,
style.
you had to put a little swag on it. No, I love it. So what does wearing a crown really represent beyond the title for you all? So I mean, everybody, we all have our crowns on today. So what does it represent to you? I know
For
that's deep.
me, it was boldness.
Okay.
I I was able to push myself out of my comfort zone and be bold and say, hey, this is who I am. And I know I have something to offer, and it was just about being bold because normally we shrink and we go, oh, yeah, you got all these degrees or you've done all these wonderful things. And, like you would say before, you'd be like, oh, yeah, it's
Right.
nothing, but it is something. We worked hard. We
Mhm.
did the work. We pushing. How many people can actually start a business? How
Right.
many people can be in business for years? Whether it's working the way you saw it in your mind or not, the fact that you keep going, that you keep pushing, that you keep trying, keep learning new things, new skills. I mean, just tackling social media has been a thing for me,
Yep.
learning all the things, and they keep, every time you think you're good at it, they change something.
Yes.
So, yes. So for me, yes, continue to be bold. And if this is on my head to remind me that you're good enough and keep going, then that's what it is for me.
Okay. Love that. Thank you so much for being bold. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I would say, for me, I did the work before the crown. So the crown for me is an outward reward,
Yeah.
for the work that I have already put in. I in this process though, I was the person who was always overlooked. I was always the person who um people didn't give a chance to. But when I showed up 250%. And then they were like, "Oh, we didn't know you could do this." But I put in the work. And so to wear the crown, one of the things my mom always used to tell me is that she was like, "One day you're going to see the evidence of the work that you put in." And
Mhm.
I never thought that this was going to be the process, but just to see it and then now to be seen. Not I've never really wanted to be seen, like, because I got so comfortable not being seen, but
Right.
just to be seen for who I am and the work that I do has been a bit overwhelming. But I have to keep reminding myself that, Jennifer, you do deserve this. It's
Mhm.
not that because you've done the work. It's not something that you haven't committed yourself
Right.
to and that you won't continue to commit yourself to. But I said it's my outward reward to remind me that you've put in the work. And guess what? Now I see you. People see you. So
Mhm.
that's what
No,
it is
I
for
love
me.
that. Again, that goes along with the monthly theme. Who are you when no one is looking?
Yeah.
Right. So, no, I love that.
Jennifer, we had a self-care day a couple days ago, and we were talking about, well, we learned at a training that it's actually not customary to wear your crown in public because to us, the crown is a trophy, right? And so Jennifer reminded us of that recently in conversation. But to me, it's exactly the mission of the organization to celebrate our accomplishments. And I'm telling you, I got so fired up when I worked on my website. That was like my very first project. I worked on my website and I built my website myself. I did that intentionally because it forced me to reflect on who is India? Does she exist? What is her story? And so the crown represents it's a celebration of the past, it's a celebration of the future, but it's also a celebration of what's to come because this is an opportunity for us to again highlight the things that we've already accomplished, but it's also putting us in position to dream even bigger so that we can have a even more significant impact on the people that we're trying to impact.
Yes, I like
No,
that.
I love that. All right, Jackie.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with everything the lady said. I especially love what Jennifer said about boldness. Miss Suitland said about boldness because I think that you do have to be kind of bold to walk around with a crown on your head. It's like, especially when you're just going to like a restaurant or you're going somewhere that's a public place. Maybe you're going to fundraise or you're going for an event, and then or maybe you're fundraising and then you on your way home you're in your car and you still have your crown on your head and people are just looking like, it's very bold to walk around with a crown on your head, but I feel like it takes a very confident person on the inside and somebody who has done the work and feels worthy of wearing the crown. And, you know, and I think that's something that initially maybe wasn't there. You know, maybe the first day I put it on, maybe I felt a little self conscious. But the more I pulled it out and put it on my head and walked around in it and let people see me and let people celebrate me, the more and more I begin to walk in that, you know, that power and that purpose and that truth. And so, yeah, I think it's a great thing, you know, and I love this competition because you do get your crown up front when
Right.
you're selected to participate. It's not all about competing to get a crown. It's like your crown day one, and all of that is out the window. And then you really get to, you know, participate fully in the competition without so much focusing on the crown.
No, and yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that. By yes, getting your crown in advance, you can really focus on going out there and doing the work and being truly
Right.
about your mission with the amplified pedestal that you're on, as you know, as a result of having the crown. And you know, as you all were talking, I was thinking, you know, imposter syndrome is a big thing, right? I think we all have some guilt in regards to that, and but again, once you put that crown and that sash on, it's like, here I am.
Yeah.
You know, have that posture ready. Exactly. Fix that crown and you go out there and you be you and you do you. Okay? I don't care if that's not right, grandma, whatever. I'm saying it.
I didn't hear
So,
you.
but it's just
Oh, we
so
got an
it's the
English
truth.
major.
Oh, okay. Y'all didn't tell me that.
It's okay. It's okay.
We just found out together. We learned together.
Oh, oh
Mhm.
no. No, it's all good. But yeah, but no, it is you know, a great thing. And I think it's great that you all have that practice because when you get on the stage, it is another level, a component of confidence that you're going to have because all eyes are going to be on you. And
Mhm.
you know, it's not your first time putting it on, you know, so you have that time now to get comfortable with it, to embrace it, to walk with it, to be Miss whoever, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that is that's awesome. So I just want to close with this question, and then I'll allow you all to, you know, close out with how people can, you know, reach you and everything. But if someone watching tonight is considering entering a pageant, excuse me, what advice would you give them about approaching it with both performance and strategy?
I would definitely tell them to make sure that first they're doing it for themselves, not because there's some other expectation put on them, and that to find someone that can to be a coach to them, whether it's an emotional coach or actual pageant coach, to walk you through it because it's a lot of things that you really would not expect that's involved in pageantry. And so just balancing your time, balancing your stress, and then learning some of the skills like the walking and the being able to be graceful about it, being able to do your pitch and being very concise, being able to answer questions from the judges, being concise, those kinds of things. So you do need someone to help you practice with those things. And they're actually two separate types of coaches. So you can find someone or somebody's to actually work with you, that would be very beneficial to you. It would take away a lot of the stress and the anxiety that comes with the unknowns.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say if they want to do pageantry, I'd say step out on it. Like if you're dreaming, take the chance. Um, I think sometimes the financial, think of it as an investment. I mean,
Yeah.
because this investment and this step into pageantry has sat me in rooms in front of people that I know for a fact I would not have met if I
Mhm.
hadn't taken this journey, and then the knowledge that you get. So this is all the strategy part of it. This is the preparation all behind the scenes. And again, if you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to gain the knowledge, if you're willing to do all of those things, then the performance. Because one of the things that I say is like the strategy builds the queen, but the performance reveals the queen. So
Mhm.
my
Oh,
thing is when you
that could have
get
been
when
my
you get
closing
to
statement.
I'm sorry. So my thing is, so whatever we put in is definitely going to come out to put in. So my thing is like balancing and mastering the art of strategy and performance. I said it when you had went off, is like, I work in the industry with young people. I tell them all the time, is how you practice is how you're going to show up. I can always tell how my kids are practicing behind the scenes because I can always tell that they've put in the work. So it's the same thing with pageantry. So whatever you want to get out of it, the work that you put in, you'll show up how you need to be. So I'm here to on Saturday to reveal the queen that I've always been.
I
That's
know
right.
that's right.
I love
Clock
that.
it.
I'll just add, I couldn't agree more with both Jennifers. I think, and not to repeat what they said, but you know, don't do it if you're not fully invested. Right? I think take it serious. And I think again, I can really appreciate our court because majority of us, we have taken this very seriously. But what we've also like everybody has their own lane, right? Don't, no one is looking to the left, looking to the right. We are all supporting one another. And I think that's really what it is. Don't look at your the other contestants as competition, right? I have, and I said it, I think on our first meeting, I am competing against the best version of India. That's what's so exciting about this. And so for me, when you think about strategy and performance, strategy absolutely is all the preparation, all the planning, right? All the intentionality, being humble, practicing the things that you know that you need to improve on, right? Advocating for the support that you need help from your family. So for me, I'm a single mom. And so how am I able to continue to show up for my daughters, show up for my job, and fulfill my responsibilities as Miss Upper Marlboro? Well, it takes a lot of strategic planning. Okay,
Yes.
it takes a lot of compromise. It takes a lot of negotiation. It takes a lot of flexibility. And the theme of all of this is pivoting, right? But the
Absolutely.
core is preparation, right? So that's the strategy. The performance is again, it's all about being yourself. Don't try to emulate anyone. I've said this before. I have not really actually referenced anyone else because I just feel like I don't want to run the risk of trying to be like someone else, right?
Right.
And so it's a balance for sure, but most importantly, be confident.
Okay. That's your theme word tonight is confidence. I love
Yeah.
that. Okay. All right, Jackie.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it brief. I'm gonna say if you're considering doing a pageant or a competition like this, when it comes to performance, have fun and be yourself. And when it comes to strategy, be strategic, make a plan, think things through, have a budget, have spreadsheets, so you can stay organized. So that's my advice to anybody looking into doing something like this.
Yeah, and I would say, and semi close with, the bottom line is that it is a business.
Yes.
Pageantry of any kind, whatever, pageant you are in is a business. And you have to figure out how, just like we do any other business endeavors, how can I make that work for me? Yes, it is a balance of both. And that performance is what people see on the outside, but it's the strategy behind the scenes that is what's making it work, and how you're going to put all those ducks in a row to make it worth your time because it is a sacrifice. And I didn't hear anybody use that word, so I wanted to put
Yes.
that word out there. But it is a sacrifice, and I know for some of you that
100%.
I've talked with on the interest meetings, I said that. But if you strategize correctly, then that sacrifice will be made worthwhile in the end. You don't have to have this crown to see the fruits of your labor. You are all wearing a crown already, so you already are seeing the fruits of your labor in real time. So, just keep that in mind. But before we, wrap up, I just wanted you all to just share really quickly how can people reach you if they want to continue to follow you all on your journey after the pageant this Saturday, March 14th, 7 p.m. It is going to be a long day. So make sure you all prepare. Okay. But how can people reach you to know more about your story, more about your just what you're doing after the crown, after the pageant?
Yeah, I can start. So definitely my website, indiaclarkofficial.com. And I'm very active on Instagram. My handle is ISC International. So definitely follow me on Instagram and definitely visit my website. It's very comprehensive. It outlines my why, my purpose, and the impact that I'm looking to build and throughout this journey.
Awesome. Thank you. Miss
I'll go
Salisbury.
next. Yep. Okay. Well, India's website is absolutely gorgeous. I must say, it is beautiful. I was like, "Woo, honey, this is top tier." So yes, if y'all have not visited her website, please do that.
Thank you.
Um, but people can get in touch with me. I do most of my business page. My name is Jennifer Dickerson, but on Instagram is Heart Soul, SOLE, for the journey step. That's Heart Soul Step on Instagram. Also, the same thing for Facebook. Um, and yeah, everybody can get in touch with me there. But if they do want to look me up personally, they can find me on Facebook as Jennifer Dickerson.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Miss Suitland.
All right. So Miss Suitland has an Instagram page called Miss Suitland. So you can follow me on Instagram. And on Facebook, I'm Jennifer Lovick Marshall, LOV as in Victor, ICK. And you can find me on all platforms, including YouTube, under that name, Jennifer Lovick Marshall.
All right. And last but not least, Jackie.
Yes. So my website is where2buyblack.com. Again, that's WEAR 2buyblack.com. That's also my Instagram handle. I'm not really active on Facebook, but you can find me on Instagram at where to buy black, and also Asada's mom. If you don't want to remember both, I collaborate a lot with both of those pages. So if you just remember where to buy black, you can follow me there and see my journey.
Yep. And find out where to shop by following her. Uh,
Absolutely.
so, and you all know you can follow me at CECTHEDIVA, the Diva. And, I encourage you, I will drop their handles after this live into the description, the chat, and as we share the reels and things like that, I'll be sure to tag them. So if you didn't catch it right now, just wait for the tags and you can follow them there. But again, I just want to thank you all, lovely ladies, for joining me. I think this was a very impactful episode, and I appreciate you joining me on my season 3 premiere. So
Yeah.
it's going to be an exciting season, and I love that you all kicked it off right with me. And
Yeah.
to my viewers, yes, like remember this topic for the month of March is who are you when no one is looking. So stay tuned because we will have a new episode next Friday at 7 p.m., our usual time. So, and if anybody wants to be a podcast guest, be sure to email me at CECTHEDIVA at gmail.com. And that's ccthediva.com at gmail.com. So again, thank you all, and you all have a great night, and we can't wait to see you all on Saturday. That's right. Everybody do that pageant wave. Yes. Pageant queens out.
Thank you, Cece.